Today is another important day where we want to discuss now issues pertaining to leave. Yeah, so as we know, leave is a period where someone has to rest, for example. Yeah, so when you talk about leave, I think this is applicable to so many organizations, and there are different types of leave that are supposed to be enjoyed by employees. Sometimes it's not like enjoying per se, but certainly health related issues can make you to be on leave. So on leave, it doesn't necessarily mean that it sometimes is to do with you to rest, for example, but sometimes it's because of certain health related issues that you are undergoing through, then you will end up going for leave. So leave is categorized in different forms, and what we need to appreciate from this session is that leave normally it's there is leave that is applicable by law, and also there's another leave that is not applicable by law. So what I'm trying to say is there's a leave that is provided by law, and also there's another type of leave that is as per terms and conditions of service of an organization. So we should be able to distinguish between the two. So what I'm trying to say is the leave that is applied by law, which is applicable by law, this is like mandatory. There's nothing that we can debate about. And also the leave that is provided by the terms and conditions of service, this is now discretionary. So each and every employer in different organizations would decide to provide such kind of leave depending on the reasons that it has find fit to provide such kind of a leave. So you can have certain types of leave which you have agreed outside the law, and you have agreed depending on the terms and conditions of service. But within the terms and conditions of service, you can also have the discretionary type of leave and also the mandatory type of leave. It all depends on what, as an organization, you are looking for, or how you want to support your employees. So when you talk about the mandatory, for example, we're talking about the annual leave, the sick leave, the maternity leave, the paternity leave. Yeah, but now when you go to issues pertaining to discretionary, which is just provided by the employer, which is not by law, then we are talking about issues like sabbatical leave, leave of absence, amongst other unpaid leave. Those are things which are now not provided by law, but now the employer just provide it just to ensure that maybe is supporting his or her employees. So what we need to appreciate is the first kind of leave which we are be focusing on now is to look at the annual leave. So when you talk about annual leave, this is kind of leave that is provided for by the Employment Act under Section 44 of the Employment Act. So in this kind of leave, what it is provided for, it is providing to employees who are working for the organization. So what we need to appreciate is each and every employee, whether on specified contract, on specific task, or on unspecified contracts. I think there's another session which I'm discussing the types of contract which are in employment. So whether one is under all those kind of contracts, then he or she is supposed to be on annual leave. So for an employee who is working 6 days a week, an employee who is employed 6 days a week, he is supposed to be provided for annual leave of 18 days per year. For an employee who is working 5 days a week, is supposed to be provided 15 days of annual leave per week. And what we need to appreciate is that this kind of annual leave, the employer is supposed to provide equal to this or above what is provided by the law. So the law, what we need to appreciate, the law is the minimum standards. When we talk about the minimum standards, the employer can provide more than the minimum. So the employer, that's why you find in other organizations, some employees are entitled to 30 days, to 40 days, 25 days, 21 days, yet the minimum is 18, and so you can go over and above the minimum. So for someone who is working 5 days a week, is supposed to undergo a minimum of 15 days. If you are providing less than the 15, then it implies you are against the law. That's what the law is stating under Section 44 of the Employment Act. And the Employment Act provides the minimum types of leave that are supposed to be provided by the employer. That's what is very, very important. And also what we need to appreciate is that leave is supposed to be exhausted within 6 months when it has fallen due. This is under Section 45 of the Employment Act. It was supposed to be exhausted within 6 months after it has fallen due. So, for argument's sake, your financial year runs from January to December. So, in December, you count 6 months from January to June. So, it means come June, end June, by July, it means all the leave days which have had accumulated from January to December, they will become forfeited. But this person can still continue using last year's annual leave up to June. So after June, the leave days will be forfeited. As much as the preferred period that this person was supposed to exhaust his leave days was supposed to be December, but you can still allow this person to proceed on leave for the last financial year leave up to June. So that's what we're trying to say. For someone whose financial year is running up to March, for example, so it means someone can still utilize the leave days up to September, when the financial year is coming in on the 31st March. That's what the law tends to provide. But what we need to appreciate is, beyond that, the only leave days that can be extended are those leave days that have been approved by the employer. So the employer has to approve. So, for example, you cannot argue to say, oh, this time I was failing to go on leave. No. When you are failing to go on leave, what we need to appreciate is that when you are failing to go on leave, you should show evidence to say, I was failing to go on leave because my employer will not allow me to proceed on leave. So you should be able to apply, whether by email, you document that evidence. Sir, you remember, you can tell your boss, sir, madam, you remember I had applied for leave days, but I was not allowed to go. So I want to extend, or I want to commute. The employer has to buy those leave days. That is if the terms and conditions of the employer allows that. So, or even you can negotiate for that, and that can be approved. That's what is very, very important for us to appreciate. So what we need to know is the leave, once it has been denied, it has to be documented, because you cannot even proceed on leave without seeking approval. So first you need to apply, and he has to approve. What also we need to appreciate is, as much as the leave is an entitlement, it's not like the employer is obliged to always approve. He can also say no to that. It's subject to approval of the employer. And you cannot say, there's some moments whereby you have applied for leave and you haven't seen the approval. No, it's moving around for seeking approval, and you start with your leave. You should be able to have the evidence document to say, I was approved. This leave was approved. Here is my evidence. Or you can check with your boss to approve verbally. So it also happens sometimes that when the leave has been, some organizations would say, if the leave, you are not accumulating the leave days to the other financial year. So if you don't accumulate the other financial year, we're going to pay you all the leave days outstanding. But what we need to know is, sometimes, for example, you haven't concluded an year in a particular way. Maybe you are resigning, or maybe an employee has died, or sometimes anything has been dismissed and all that. So when such kind of things have happened and the outstanding leave days, they're supposed to be paid, and they're supposed to be prorated according to the number of months. For example, someone has resigned in August, and this financial year starts from January. So it implies to say the last financial years cannot be counted, because by June, all the leave days for the last financial year will not count. But from January to August, you now say how many leave days does this employee have. So from there, you are now going to arrive at, or say, okay, how much now leave days are outstanding for this particular employee. So you are prorating. You are not providing. You are not say we are paying up to December. You are only paying for the period. And likewise, just also to say leave grant, for example. Leave grant is not mandatory. It's not provided by law. It's a discretionary benefit that is provided for employer. So for employers who provide leave grants, they can even prorate the leave grant to the number of months that have been in the financial year. Not at the point of paying, but because sometimes you can pay leave grant and assume to say the person will continue working for you. Yeah, but in the end, if he doesn't continue to work for you, you can deduct. Yeah, you can say, okay, the leave grant is 90,000, then he divided by 12. How much is it? So he has worked for 6 months only. Then you can pay for 6 months, 45,000. That's allowed. Thinking you're doing right, but it all depends on the policy of the organization. That's what also is very, very important for us to apply. And what is also important for us to appreciate is that leave days cannot accumulate. Leave days cannot accumulate. Under Section 45, cannot accumulate when an employee is one, on study leave, on sick leave, or on maternity leave, or even during the period of notice of termination. So you cannot say, because I'm on study leave, because I'm on sick leave, because I'm on maternity leave, therefore I will still my leave days still accumulate. The leave days stop to count under that one. Yeah, because you're not working. In short, you're not working. Unless if you are working from home, but that means that's not maternity leave, that's not sick leave, and that's not study leave. You can now say no, because annual leave won't accumulate for those people who are working. So regardless whether you're working from home or you're working from the office, you can still accumulate leave days. But of course, the challenge is to say whether one can accumulate leave days while working from home, because evidence to show that this was so. But I know some organizations have got trackers; they can track whether the person is working really and all that. But also at the same time, we might find that there are certain jobs which you cannot be able to work from home. So the same organization, you have some employees who can be able to work from home, some employees cannot work from home. I'll give an example. Production people on the production line, drivers, office, the messengers, might not be able to work from home, for example, but can they accumulate leave days? Yet they are not driving, yet they are not servicing the office in terms of teas, moving mail and all that. On the production line, nothing is happening. They can't work from home by nature of their job. Drivers, for example, they can't work from home. So in such kind of situation, can they accumulate leave days? So that's another debate which can be there. But now, if in the same organization you can have others who can work from home, others cannot work from home. I'll give example during the time of COVID. Some people would work from home, but others were not working from home. So those people who were working from home would accumulate leave days. But those who are not working from home, then they're not supposed to accumulate leave days. That's my understanding. That's what is also is very, but they can debate over it and be able to decide as an organization to say whether this is applicable or not. That's what is very, very important. And also what is important for us to appreciate is to say when someone is on leave, salary has to continue. I've seen some organizations who are able to tell their employees to say, you are proceeding on leave, could be maternity or annual leave, therefore we're not paying you any salary for this period. No, you're supposed to continue paying the salary. The other thing is also what you need to know is the leave days cannot offset the sick leave, the maternity leave, or the notice to termination. What are we saying? What we're saying is you cannot claim to say, I have got these leave days, then therefore I'm trying to say, with these leave days, I want to use it on my sickness. No. Because when you are sick with a medical practitioner certified, then you are supposed to go for sick leave. When you are on maternity leave, you are supposed to go on maternity leave. You are not on annual leave, depending on the duration that you are on maternity leave or you are on sick leave. And according to the law, how applicable the law is. But also what is important also for us to appreciate is to say the leave days can be used to offset the notice of termination. For example, you have 21 leave days and you are supposed to serve a notice of 1 month. Then you can be able to sacrifice your leave days, to say, no, don't pay me for these leave days which are outstanding. I'm leaving immediately because I was supposed to give you 1 month notice. So I'm not giving you the 1 month notice, but this should be offsetted by the leave days which I had. So you are paying the leave days and the employer is also getting the notice. So you have offsetted. It's debit in, debit out. The employer was supposed to pay you for the leave days. You are supposed to pay the employer for the notice. So it has offsetted. So that's what is also very, very important for us to appreciate. But as I said earlier, leave days cannot be concurrent, cannot happen at the same time with maternity leave, sick leave, and notice of termination. And some will argue to say, I am serving a notice and also I'm on leave. No, that's not allowed. When you have served, when you are set to serve a notice, you have outstanding leave days, they're going to offset. You only serve a notice when you don't have enough leave days. Then, or you can serve the notice and say the employer will pay me for the leave days. Then you serve the notice in full, the outstanding leave days will be paid to you. That's what is very, very important also for us to appreciate. That's very, very important for us to appreciate. I hope it's clear. And this is what is very, very important to say. The notice, you cannot say to say annual leave. I'll use annual leave just for the sake of, I'm trying to utilize my leave days, and I'm going to utilize my leave days, and at the same time, I'm also saving a notice. I'm on leave whilst I'm saving a notice. That's not allowed by law. Because your leave days are supposed to offset the notice. And also what you need to appreciate is also to say all the leave days, they tend to apply to working days. That's what is also very important. When you talk about annual leave, you cannot say you're on annual leave during weekends, for example. So be it it's only maternity and sick leave, which you count, including the public holidays and the leave days, because you cannot stop being sick, or the child cannot stop growing because it's a weekend. So you continue, being on maternity leave even weekend, or you can continue being sick, Healing can still happen over weekend, so you can continue being sick whilst on weekend. So sick leave includes weekends, maternity leave includes weekends, paternity leave includes what? Weekends. What also at the same time, the other thing that is one you need to appreciate is sometimes you can be on leave pending retirement. You're about to retire and there are some outstanding leave days to retirement. You are supposed to exhaust it before the retirement. Some would still accumulate up to the retirement and be paid. It all depends on the arrangement with the employer. But what is important as an organization, I think it's better to allow employees to exhaust their leave days before they go for retirement. And at the same time, how much days can accumulate? Because we have already agreed to say leave days you cannot have leave days for the last 4 years. It means after 1 year, in the next 16 months, they were forfeited. In the next 6 months, they were forfeited, unless if we are accumulating. So if we are accumulating on mutual understanding or on mutual agreement, then you are supposed to pay them at that time, rather than just accumulating them. So what we need to appreciate is also, that's also provided for under section 45. That's what is also important for us to appreciate. And after discussing the annual leave, now I want to discuss the sick leave. So what we need to appreciate under the sick leave is always covered under section 46 of the Employment Act. So what it is saying is that when someone is sick, he has to provide a medical certificate from a medical practitioner registered by medical council. So has to provide a medical certificate to say, no, I'm sick and I've been given off duty of how many days, depending on the sickness. Then it's up to the medical doctor to certify how many days you should be on what? Sick leave. Not yourself. Nothing like, no, I went to a witch doctor. I think the Employment Act recognizes the medical practitioner, the registered medical practitioner, and not what? Witch doctors. So what is the Act is saying under Section 46 is saying the employee is entitled to 1 month on full pay. So when you are sick, the first month you'll be on full pay. This is after you have been certified to be ill, 1 month on full pay, and the next 2 months you'll be on half pay. But the Terms and Conditions of Service can provide more. As I said, these are minimum. So the Employment Act provides for 1 month on full pay and 2 months on half pay. But the employers can provide more than that. But the Act is not clear on what happens after the 3 months. First month on full pay, the next 2 months on half pay, what happens thereafter? The law is not clear. That's what is very important for us to have. So you should be able to have a section within your terms and conditions. What are you going to do? But the assumption is payment has to stop after the 3 months. So, but the question should be, are we supposed to retire now the person on healthy grounds at that point? Or we are going to tell the employee that we're stop paying you, and what next? Yeah, so, and maybe after we're going to observe, maybe after 6 months or 3 months, then, without pay, for example, and we're going to decide whether to retire you on medical grounds. So you should have a section which is trying to cover beyond the 3 months. What happens thereafter? What steps are supposed to, or the employee has to apply for retirement on medical grounds. But of course, what I've noted is most organizations have failed to implement this, except for private sector and maybe the NGO sector. But maybe in public service, yeah, you see, it's difficult sometimes, yeah, but that's how the law is. Then there is now maternity leave. Maternity leave, what is also important is that and every female employee is entitled to about 2 months, which is 8 weeks. Is entitled to 8 weeks, which is like 2 months. This is under Section 47 of the Employment Act. It's entitled to 2 months on maternity leave. And this is whether this person is married or not married. Because some can argue to say, you are pregnant, where does the pregnancy come from? Yet you are not married. No, that's not an issue. That's immaterial. The issue is the employee is pregnant. Who is the father doesn't matter. And also the other thing that what the law is not trying to explain is, even the law is not explicit to say, what about adopted children? Yeah. So, but the assumption is even the adopted children can still be on maternity. The mother can still on maternity leave. Sometimes it can happen. A woman, her sister has passed on, and unexpectedly she has to take care of this particular child. So it's all about understanding. The employer has to understand, depending on the situation, can approve to say you can proceed on maternity leave. That's what is very, very important. So that's why we are calling it human resource management. It's the human aspect, the human face associated with the whole thing. Because we want to save the life of this particular child. So can we still proceed on maternity leave? That's what is very, very important for us to appreciate. Or maybe it's a mother and her daughter has passed on. Then the mother can say, no, I have to take care of my grandchild. Then you can still proceed on maternity leave. So you're proceeding on maternity leave, you're above 60 or you're above 50 or you're above this age. No, it doesn't matter. The situation has led to the provision of the maternity leave. So the law doesn't specify these things. I'm just trying to explain some of the scenarios which can also lead to maternity leave. And another aspect also is the issue of maybe same-sex marriages, for example. Yeah, if they have adopted someone, yeah, they can say, we want to go on maternity leave. Can you be able to allow that or not? So, but we can use the adoption law to say, no, maybe you have adopted, then you can go on, you can proceed on one maternity leave. So these are some of the things that are also very, very important for us to appreciate. And you are not supposed to terminate or to say you'll be on unpaid maternity leave, or you're supposed to terminate. There's a case of Chisoa and Ibrahim. Yeah, Ibrahim was a shop, and Chisoa had complained to say her services were terminated because she was pregnant, and the court ruled against the company to say, no, you are supposed to pay the compensation for unlawful termination. Yeah, so that happened. And also in 2021, there's an amendment of Section 46 of the Employment Act, where it is now providing some flexible working hours for the employees, especially the female employees, to say when they are pregnant, they have to be supported and all that. They should be provided especially the lactating mothers. They should be provided with the support. They can go home and nurse their children. They can maybe take the children to the office. We can have rooms, special rooms for lactating mothers, and they can be able to attend the kids and all that. But also when they are sick and all sickness related to the pregnancy, they should be allowed to go home. So that's also very, very important. The amendment happened in 2021 of the Employment Act. And also there's another amendment in the same 2021 of Section 47, and there's an addition of 47A, which is now providing for paternity leave to male employees for a period of 3 years. I think there should be evidence, because for the female employee who will see the pregnancy and all that, even the adoption will see the child and all that. But for the men, it will be a challenge. So they have to be seen some kind of evidence to say, no, we have formally adopted a child. We have formally a child is born to us, as a family. So I'm trying to, it's not about this to say, it's not about whether one is married or not, because you can have a child when you're not married, but it's still your child, provided you are having it once in 3 years, because men can have several wives, several girlfriends, and they can have several children. But we are providing for you, men, we're providing, the law provides for once in every 3 years. So that's also very important for us to appreciate. And when we talk about these issues, these are some of the types of leave which are provided by law, and there are certain leaves which are not provided by law. So this kind of leave which are not provided by law, we are looking at issues like sabbatical leave, whereby this now at organizational level, you can provide a sabbatical leave. Someone can just go off the duties and do her personal things, maybe 2 years, and come back to the office, depending on whether you have got such kind of a leave in your terms and conditions of service. Study leave, you can allow an employee to go on could be paid or unpaid leave, depending whether you've got a policy or there is approval of management. Compassionate leave, when someone had to attend to a sick relation, this is also provided when there's a funeral, when there's a sickness, then you can provide a compassionate leave. How many days maybe per year and all that, you should be able to provide it. Maybe neighbors and all that, you can be able to provide it. That's kind of to be to attend it to, even a pressing issue which is healthy or related to issue, so we can provide that kind of compassionate leave. But what we need to appreciate is the law is not also trying to explain further, because compassionate leave normally in most organizations could be 10 days, 5 days. But when a man is sick, what happens to the married woman? Because what we have observed in African culture, is that most sicknesses, when it's to do with the man, the woman tend to leave the workplace and go to support her husband at the hospital. And now what happens to that? Is it unpaid leave or is it a sick leave? It's not her sick leave because she's not sick, but is attending to. So that's the compassionate leave we're talking about. So maybe the compassionate leave, where there is evidence to say the man is sick in this way, the organizations can have such kind of a term in their terms and conditions of service to say we should have a section on compassionate leave with more days, for example. Or maybe management can make an approval depending on case by case of more days for the compassionate leave, depending on the situation that one is. I'm not saying men cannot wait for their wives in hospital. They can do that. They're also entitled to the kind of compassionate leave. But commonly, what I've observed is women are always on the forefront to wait for or to take care of their spouses when either at home or in the hospitals. Normally, if you find a good in most cases, when the woman is sick, could be her sister coming in, so could be her sister who is also maybe employed somewhere, could be her daughter who is also employed somewhere, could be her mother who is also employed somewhere, and now that's kind of compassionate leave we're talking about. This person can be allowed to go for compassionate leave, especially for direct child, for direct mother, for direct father, something like that. That's what is also very, very important for us to appreciate. Of course, we have seen a lot of people, maybe a son taking care of his father. Yeah, that's also very common. But for a father to take care of the spouse, in rare circumstances it happens. But what I'm trying to say, all these are supposed to undertake the compassionate leave. And also there is what we call the unpaid leave. Someone can just go unpaid leave and all that, and also the leave of absence. In other organizations, it's applicable. But these are things which are not ruled by law. So the sabbatical leave, study leave, compassionate leave, unpaid leave, leave of absence, this kind of leave. And amongst other leave, which we know, these are not provided by law. The ones which are provided by law is the sick leave, maternity leave, annual leave, and the paternity leave. So that's what is very, very important for us to appreciate. I hope you have understood the different types of leave that employers are supposed to provide under the discretionary arrangement or under the compulsory or mandatory arrangement. So that's what is very, very important for us to appreciate. So I thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Tell others about this YouTube channel. You'll be able to learn a lot of things. HR, procurement, stores management, general management, retail management, board preparation management, records management, amongst other things. And what is important for us to appreciate is that all these things we are doing to educate each other on what you should do in different circumstances. So this is your YouTube channel. Enjoy it and be able to learn more through this YouTube channel. If you want to get more information on other services that we provide as Change Consult Group, we are under ccg@changeconsult.org, ccg@changeconsult.org. Or if that's an email, you can now even visit our website www.changeconsult.org, www.changeconsult.org. You can also be able to find us there. So you can be able to reach out through email ccg@changeconsult.org, or visit our website, which is www.changeconsult.org, or you can visit our Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram pages. Yeah, we are there as Change Consult Group. Thank you for watching.